From Atlanta,
where Attack of the Killer Tomatoes was not filmed.
it's the 9 Billion Names of Pod with Dan Bauman and Michael Reed. I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm a Creammaster cyclist.
So, let's talk about some stuff.
Oi.
So, we are drinking the Kool Aid this week, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite cult movies.
Aristotle's last words, I drink what?
I drank what?
Yep.
That's a good jumping off point if you want to go there. If you want to start with that one.
No. We're talking cult films. And for the purpose of our episode today, we're going to go loosey-goosey on cult. Now, there's the cult...
you've got your list, and there's a few on there that I'm like, really? Okay, let's see where you're thinking.
There is the cult film that did horribly when it was released and gained notoriety and love after its release.
Yes.
Okay? A la the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Right, which we will not be speaking
We will not. We did a whole episode on
Plenty
that.
of it. Yeah.
Plenty of Rocky Horror to talk about. But then there are the films that did okay. Mm-hmm. But in subsequent years gathered massive just love and success and on home video. Yep. A la Shawshank Redemption.
Okay. Is that how that played out?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, you know. What's a Shawshank? How do you redeem a Shawshank? I don't get it. My brain hurts. But then when people actually got a chance to see it 5,000 trillion times on TBS every 5 minutes for 17 years straight, they went, oh yeah, that's a damn good film. I mean, ask any male between the ages of like 30 and death and say, what's your favorite kind of culty out of the way film? And in the top, or just your favorite film period, probably in the top 5 is going to be Shawshank Redemption.
When I first laid eyes on Andy Dufresne, I didn't think quite a lot of him. You know?
That's exactly.
It's and that's one of those that it's. Frank Darabont did 2 of those. He did 3, I should say. He was the first guy to
I know about the Green Mile. What's the other one he did?
He did the Fog. He did a remake of the Fog. As well.
You know what? Haven't even seen it. Yeah. Because I read the book in junior high, it's really a short story. It's like a novelette that appears in one of the collections.
One of the collections.
And I'm just like, great, it's a fog full of creatures, they get you. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Well, now, of course, in a deft filmmaker, that you could write some dialogue, you could make the drama outside of the, your A storyline. The monsters. That could be interesting, but, I look at that film, even though I haven't seen it, much as I look at, like, Maximum Overdrive. Trucks come to life. I don't fucking care.
Right, well, he's the guy who was able to adapt King the best. I mean, he picked two novellas, I should say.
Well, Shawshank was originally Rita Hayworth in Shawshank Redemption, which was, I believe, one of the 4 stories in different seasons.
Yes.
And then The Green Mile actually was he released it. Oh gosh,
serialized.
It's like
almost.
like
one a month on a little tiny, like a chapter a month or
something along those lines. And I thought good for when you've done everything else on the planet, why not do that kind of thing?
Yeah, and it was a smart move because he picked. They're just stories about people. Shawshank especially. There's nothing supernatural about Shawshank at all.
Nope.
And there is definitely in the Green Mile with John Coffey, but
what's supernatural about that?
Yeah, the giant black man who can cure your ills.
Oh, I'm a giant white man, and I sometimes vomit up swarms of flies. What? You don't do that?
No.
Oh shit!
No. And
I need to see a doctor.
And if you've read the story. Not much changed in between the novel and the thing. I mean, there were different wardens and different
little things change.
I mean, guards, but
anybody who reads a book and then sees the movie and cries because a name was changed or one character was left out, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I mean, there are reasons for these things. Sometimes those reasons were ill-founded, and you screwed it up because you screwed up the book, making it into a film. But just the sake that there are changes don't be like Stewie Griffin. I don't like change. Just just roll with it.
I have made the mistake of turning it on at 11:30.
No, and then you're up till 1:30 in the morning.
Can't get out of it. Yeah, the vortex of the Shawshank Redemption.
And it's weird. There's a few films like that because for the most part, I never, ever, ever, ever will watch a film on television with commercial breaks.
Yep.
I won't do it. Rare exceptions in the case of like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which has extra scenes. Because if they cut out all the naughty bits, they're running really low on film. So there's extra scenes in there that you don't get anywhere else. They didn't put it on the DVD. They didn't do it anywhere. You can only get it, when they show it on television.
There are some of those.
Sometimes it's really fun to watch like Top Secret, that early Val Kilmer film on television, just for the audio overdubbing of what they come up with to try to fit. Like, really? No one in the history of English language has ever said that sentence ever, and that's what you overdub it with?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've told you before, Kevin Smith says his favorite movie is the dubbed television version of Mallrats because Jay Muse was strung out and didn't show up to the ADR session, so they hired some actor who didn't sound like him at all, and the things that they changed, the dialogue make him laugh so much.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Let's dive in. I think we got to start with the ultimate cult film in the history of cult films, second only to, obviously Rocky Horror Picture Show. This is Spinal Tap.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, that's a perfect example of a film that, like, I don't get it. What? Are they real? And it's that kind of comedy that's so very British, that was done by Americans.
Completely by Americans. Yeah.
And I like that. I love my British comedy, but I love it when it's done deftly by anybody, and Americans especially. It's a Rob Reiner film. What are you gonna do? I mean, he's kind of the king of cult films. I mean, Stand By Me.
Yep.
That's kind of culty.
Same book as Shawshank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only there's one story out of different seasons that we haven't got yet. I think it's The Body.
No, The Body was Stand By Me. The Body is Stand By Me.
Oh no! What's the one with the
Winter
library?
or something? Yeah,
it's the library with the woman. Oh, it's The Breathing Method.
The Breathing Method.
That's right. It was a woman. That's right. There was a woman who died at the beginning of it. That's why I thought it was The Body. The Body.
Yeah.
You're right. But I think it's called The Breathing Method, and that's the one that has the library in it. That I wrote some kind of fan fiction stories as an extension of that because it opened up an entire world, and then he just wrote a story and left it. And like, there's doors. You can just open the door, and there's a whole nother thing going on. Anyway.
And just to finish it out, Apt Pupil was the other story in that book, which was also made into
they did that.
Didn't quite catch on as much.
Well, that's it. In the book, it's a very interesting character study, but if you have to give the one or two sentence synopsis for somebody, like kid finds an old Nazi and they start killing people together.
Yeah, he starts blackmailing the Nazi to teach him how to kill people,
and
it's like,
that's not your date film.
No, no, no.
I'd rather go see was it Seven, than Apt Pupil.
Yeah. But getting back to Spinal Tap, and this is the truth. Spinal Tap is one of the reasons I wanted to become a musician, as weird as that is, because
really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was at that right perfect age, and I think I think I had it in me before that, and I had already started playing bass, and maybe a few months in, and then saw Spinal Tap, and at the time my mother was dating a guy who owned a video store.
Oh, joy.
So, which was pretty great because
pretty much like having Netflix on demand
back in the day.
Yeah.
Back when, and what it was if something didn't rent, my mom would call me and say, what do you want, and what do you want to watch this weekend, and I would give her a list, and she, if it was there, she would just take it home.
Oh, nice.
It was pretty great. And to this day, I remember video number 806 was Spinal Tap because I got it every other weekend. I got it every time it was out. And
it was like a standing order. Mom, if
Yeah.
Spinal Tap is still there, just bring it home.
And eventually, literally, her boyfriend at the time just gave it to me at one point. He's like, just take it. Just keep it. He's like, no one else rents it. Just keep it. And I watched it, every weekend for a year. And just I did you ever see on the DVD they did the actual what's the word for it? The
commentary?
No, not the comment. Yes, the commentary is great.
In character commentary is great.
But the I guess the treatment that they did, the short film that they shot.
Oh, yes, I've seen that.
They basically did the whole movie, improv, a 20-minute, demo of the movie and took whatever came out of that and wrote it into
Gee, I wonder which member of Spinal Tap took that format to great and cult success forever and
yeah, who's all of his movies pretty much are cult movies. Christopher Guest,
yes, exactly.
But my favorite line in the treatment was in the treatment it was he was Rob Reiner. He wasn't Marty DeBurgi. He was Rob Reiner, and he said at one point in the thing, "Please pick up this movie. I don't want to have to do Meathead becomes a private detective on television." I've never forgotten that.
Meathead is a private detective.
So,
well, that's a good theory you got there, Meathead. Mm-hmm. That's my best Archie Bunker I can come up with. Yeah, that pretty much. For those of you who aren't aware, you should watch it. But things going to 11, that is 100% Spinal Tap.
I'm not kidding you. My soundboard at work goes to 11. Because of that movie. I'm not kidding. It's sure 0 to 11.
I'm sure they have designs like, oh no, we're taking this to 11.
We're going
even
to
if 11 doesn't do anything, we're just going to make it
so
11.
much pop culture and zeitgeist came out of that film.
Oh my gosh.
Just
well, do you know what inspired the Stonehenge bit in Spinal Tap? For the one album that Ian Gillan from Deep Purple fronted Black Sabbath on, which you think, wow, what a weird combination. It's a great fucking record.
Okay.
Horrible, worst album cover in the history of album covers.
Which one?
It's the one with the red demonic baby against a purple background.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
But the album is fucking tight.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, actually. I do know that.
And one of the songs on there was Stonehenge, and they had a Stonehenge set built, except it was too big for most of the venues they were booked in. So, like, a third of the set was all they could fit through doors. All the taller ones, they had to leave in the truck, which is exactly the opposite problem
what they did with
what Spinal Tap had. So,
the problem is you've got a Stonehenge monument in danger of being crushed by a dwarf.
Yeah. So, yeah, Spinal Tap. Cannot recommend that highly enough.
Basically, the first real mockument. Well, no, I won't say that.
The Ruddles.
The Ruddles was before that, but one of the bigger mockumentary.
I'd say probably the biggest mockumentary.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, there's others, but I mean that's the one. If you go, that's your go-to thing. What do you want to go to next? We've got our selection here of awesome titles. I don't want to hog it the whole time. Well, or challenge me, make me justify one of the fucked up titles I put on my list.
Let's keep on going. I think one of the greatest comedy, one of my literal top 5 favorite films of all time.
Yeah,
The Blues Brothers. I think it's one of the greatest films of all time.
Yes.
It's just everything about it is perfect. There's not a moment that isn't dead on perfect. I mean, to the
once soiled.
Frank Oz.
Exactly.
There's a lot of little cameos.
Oh,
well,
there's
a lot of the casting and the cameos. I mean, all the blues musicians. I mean,
if I ever, first of all, learn how to play an instrument or sing and form a group that is a trio, the name of the band is going to be Three Orange Whips.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question. I will fire anyone in the band who disagrees. Like, no, this band exists to be called Three Orange Whips.
Yeah.
So if you ain't down with that, go off somewhere else.
And I mean, and if you live under a rock and you don't know what it is, it was based on a sketch from a musical, a pretend musical group that John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd made for Saturday Night Live.
It was just Belushi and Aykroyd were alternately into the blues and punk at the same time. They were both, and they brought the blues thing and just co-opted the Saturday Night Live band, which was like half of the Muscle Shoals
and half of the Booker T and the MGs.
Yeah, and just like a tight band. This is like season, I want to say
1 or 2,
probably second, maybe third, definitely in the first 3 of Saturday Night Live, and they took this thing and turned it into what I think is just a damn brilliant film. So full of cameos. I mean, I just,
Well, and the
James
cameos-
Brown, Aretha Franklin. And it wasn't just, hey, I'm doing a Stan Lee thing and I'm done in 5 seconds. No, they were characters.
Yeah.
James Brown plays a preacher, and Aretha Franklin's the wife of one of Matt Guitar Murphy.
Yep,
and even
Cab Calloway as their mentor, basically.
exactly the
in
guy that got him
orphanage.
wearing wearing the fakakta suits.
Yeah, yep, and Ray's Music Exchange in Calumet City.
Now, do you remember the one kind of offhand one that he didn't have any speaking lines, but he sang like a mofo?
Oh, John Lee Hooker.
That's right, outside.
Boom, 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 boom.
That's the
Yeah.
hit. I wrote boom boom. No, I wrote boom boom. And I tell you, I never had more of a freak out than I was doing a show up at Theater in the Square, and it turns out that the stage manager for that show, I found out in conversation, was an extra in Chicago on the Blues Brothers.
On Shake a Tail Feather?
No. She was crowd.
Oh, okay.
She was crowd scene outside of the soul food restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was just trying to pick her brain for every line. Like, really, it wasn't. I'm like, no, you were there. I mean, imagine your favorite film of all time and being able to walk onto that set.
Oh, yeah.
And just, every once in a while I think, my God, if I could walk into St. Elmo's bar, because I'm a whore for that horribly awful, awesome film.
Like Kevin Smith told the story of falling to pieces as he was walking up the ramp of the Millennium
Falcon.
I would be the same. I would be
absolutely
a mess. So.
Absolutely. And of course, my definition of cult can extend to Star Wars in the sense that a cult has arisen around it because it is so very popular. Because it swings both ways.
Yeah.
It's a cult film in that it didn't do too well, but there's a pocket of people who love it and are very fervent about it. But the same thing goes the other direction. It's a huge hit, and there's religions and extended universes. That's cult as well.
Yeah.
We're leaning more towards the
little
smaller
ones.
side of cult. Although some of these kind of, they pop through to some of the larger cult a little bit. But yeah, Blues Brothers and the soundtrack.
Oh, it's genius.
Oh my gosh. My biggest complaint about the Blues Brothers soundtrack is it doesn't have every song, and they fade out at the end of Shake a Tail Feather before they get to the end. Drives me crazy. Drives me crazy so much that, like I do with Ferris Bueller, I created the complete Blues Brothers soundtrack.
Yes, he did.
That has all the shit that I like the way I like it. So suck on that, Atlantic Records.
My favorite song in that whole soundtrack is the opening "She Caught the Katy." Remember? She caught the Katy, left me a mule to ride. I don't know, and it set the tone of the film so good. Yeah, dun, 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 John Belushi, dun, dun, Dan Aykroyd, dun, dun, the Blues Brothers.
I have to say, probably one of the best quotes out of there that I was actually able to use in context because something was happening with let's just say some brown shirts in a I hate Illinois Nazis.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say, I pretty much hate all Nazis, but I really hate Illinois Nazis.
Yep.
They're the fucking worst. I want to move on to a film that bombed when it came out, continued to bomb all the way through till present, but has a small but very passionate following. Phantom of the Paradise.
Which, as a bad nerd, I still have not seen. Whoa. I know.
Let me set the scene for you. First of all, Paul fucking Williams.
Yeah.
Wrote all the music, and it's good.
Yeah.
And accented as Swan, who is he the devil? Is he an agent of the devil? Who knows? Maybe he's. And I'm trying to be coy about it so you don't get anything spoiled for it. But it takes the classic, Phantom of the Opera thing and turns it into a 70s rock, tiny bit disco, but mostly like
kind of glamish, right?
Yeah.
Like New York Dolls-ish kind of.
Not quite that rough,
but
a little more. It has Jessica Harper in it, who, okay. She played Janet in Shock Treatment. Another.
That's why I thought that's who that was.
We will be discussing Shock Treatment.
Yep.
And it's great. I mean, I just last week watched a documentary about Paul Williams called "Still Alive."
Yes, I want to see that. I've heard him talking about it. Yeah.
I will loan it to you because I own it, because Paul Williams is one of the best fucking songwriters who is still alive.
Yeah, and he's one of the best people. He's kind of turned his life around and is like
he's just over 20 years sober. And they go into that in the thing, and just, him hosting the Mike Douglas show constantly, sniffing and rubbing his nose, and he just looks at that from a sobriety standpoint and goes, "Oh God, I can't watch this."
There's a voiceover artist named Rob Paulson who does.
His name was Rob Paulson?
Yeah, his name is Rob Paulson. He does Yakko, and
he didn't get it.
I didn't. His name he does Yakko and Pinky on Maniacs and all that stuff. And he was doing a session. Paul Williams was on. I think it was Animaniacs, and no, he was doing Batman. That's what it was. Because Paul Williams played the Penguin on the Batman animated series, which was great. It's perfect voice casting.
Also, a little too close to home physically.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Paul.
Right,
I mean, 5'2" and a little on the chunky side.
But both Rob and Paul tell a great story of going into the studio, and Rob is sitting down getting his notes and his script down, and he said, Paul comes in, sits down, and he says to Rob, "Did I miss anything?" And Rob goes, "I believe it was the 80s, Paul."
And he was totally
correct. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. But he was at the height of his powers. This is a Brian De Palma film, so you get the standard split, sometimes triple screen thing. Remember, like, he didn't carry.
Yes.
You get that in Phantom of the Paradise. Mm-hmm. It's over the top. It's very schlocky in places. It's not meant to be serious. I mean, not even close to being serious. And it died.
What year?
Phantom of the Paradise was 1974.
Oh, so pre-Rocky Horror.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Well, no, Rocky Horror show existed.
Right, but the film
the film, I think, what did Rocky Horror came out in
76? Didn't it?
No,
75.
No. I think 75.
75, yeah.
So it predates that, and surprised Rocky Horror got made after this thing was...
Right, exactly. That's what
but Rocky Horror had some theatrical backing to it. There was no Phantom of the Paradise musical that they said, let's turn it into a film. This is wholly created for film.
Got it.
And it's great. Mm-hmm. Now, another thing, which Paul Williams also did all the music for, which did not start out as a musical, but as a film musical... Mm-hmm. Scott Baio.
Oh, that's right, Bugsy Malone.
Bugsy mother. I am still in love with Florrie Duggar. I mean, I'm still in love at my age. I'm looking back going, damn, she's like.
Well, I mean, it's funny. We only maybe a year ago, if not just a few months ago, we revisited. We watched Bugsy Malone.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because they have turned it into a musical.
Oh, it's been a musical.
It's been a musical
for a long
time. And they've made a kids version of it, and Courtney was trying to get it to do for the Actors Studio thing that she does.
Yeah, I saw a production in the early '90s.
Okay, so it's been around that long.
Fun. Oh yeah, it's been forever.
And if you've never seen it, the conceit of Bugsy Malone is brilliant. It's basically 30s-ish
Depression era gangsters. Film. However,
it is completely populated by children.
I would say nobody in that cast at the most 14. And probably closer between 8 and 12.
Right. And it's your basic Al Capone kind of story. And, Scott Baio plays Bugsy, who's like the slick kind of, wheeler dealer. And
don't forget Blousy.
Played
by Florrie Duggar.
Yep.
My girlfriend from 1974.
And Jodie Foster.
Oh, Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster. And
what's her name?
Her
name is Tallulah.
That's right. Yeah. And the gangster wars that they have are done with cream pies.
Right. When someone gets taken out in a hit, they get hit with a cream pie.
Right.
And the innovation in the film was, we're not going to hit them with these one-shot cream pies. We're going to go with the, what's it called? The splurge gun. And basically it loads up.
It's a Tommy gun.
Yeah, it's a Tommy gun that shoots cream pie
whipped cream
amounts
balls or whatever, yeah.
So when you get hit, boom, you get that. And the weird thing about it was that all the singing, with very little exception, was done by Paul Williams, either in his own voice or in a slightly sped up or slowed down, because none of the kids sang.
Right.
And It worked. I mean, you knew it wasn't them singing.
Yeah.
But it just worked. It just has there's something about that film that I just,
The music is just so great, and it's such a great idea, and the kids do so well, and the choreography is really great, and it's funny.
I mean, it would be
weird.
impressive if it was done with adults, of course.
Yeah.
Having the splurge gun would be like, why are adults doing it? It makes sense for
Yeah.
the kids. But I mean, just the way they did the film, it's quality. It's not a dumb kids film. It's a smart kids.
It's a smart kids film.
And that's one of my rolled up one sheets that I have in storage. That if I ever decide to expand my movie poster framed up collection,
Right.
Bugsy's getting framed up.
And it's not so much a cult movie, but you can't talk about these without talking about the Muppet movie, just for the music of Paul Williams.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, I mean, for all you people going, who cares about Paul Williams? I'm just going to do a mic drop now. Rainbow Connection.
Rainbow Connection.
Done.
And
Done.
What's Gonzo's song?
I like to fuck chickens.
No.
Oh, that was cut from the
That
film.
was cut from the film.
Ah,
No,
okay.
I'm going to go back there someday.
Oh, yes.
Tear your heart right out and just
Moving right along.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
The Electric Mayhem.
Oh, yes.
Tell me if I done.
Doc Hopper's French fried frog legs. Tasty.
Somewhat culty of a movie.
Culty-ish. Yeah, I mean, it's, there's definitely a cult around Muppets, of which we are both members of that
Oh,
cult.
absolutely, yeah.
But, definitely successful. I mean, there's some things where you mention and you go, I don't even heard of that. That's on the tiny cult side.
Right. Well, one more movie that is not actually on our list because I forgot to put it on.
Oh, come on. Hit
Which
me
is
with
the
it.
ultimate definition of tank bomb blew up on video.
Tank bomb blew up on video.
Yeah, tanked in the theaters maybe 2 weeks and then did nothing, and then is a huge. I'll give it. It's a comedy.
Ishtar. No, just kidding.
Nope.
Oh, I have a feeling I'm going to know this when you say
Absolutely.
it. Give me another hint. Come on, you're killing me here.
Stapler.
Oh gosh, Office Space. That's true. That film did nothing. I mean, it just died a horrible death, and it's like revered.
Huge comedy. It's brilliantly funny.
I mean,
I just actually one of the girls I work with now at the aquarium, because I work at the aquarium now.
Does she wear flair? Does she have enough flair?
She does.
Does she want to wear more flair? Does she have more flair?
She had never seen it. We were yeah. She's 25, I think, and we were throwing lines back and forth.
Got
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Okay.
We were throwing lines back and forth. Me and one of the other guys, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, wait, it's from Office Space. Like, I've never seen that. I was like, the next day I brought it. It's like, you're going to go and watch this, and she came back and raved about it. So
Yeah, one of the very few films that Jennifer Aniston is in that I own.
true.
Because
Yeah.
let's face it, she does all these dumb rom-com,
And
dumb crap things that I hate.
With the exception of one line, she has nothing like significant in the film.
No,
The
no.
only line I think is delivered well is I love Kung Fu. Yeah, that's the only thing that she contributes to that film,
I want to move on. Let's go a little darker, shall we? The ultimate cult film,
Okay.
Donnie Darko.
I have not watched Donnie Darko, and I'll tell you
Dude!
why. I know. And I'll
This
tell-
podcast is over. Click. What the hell, man?
I kind of never got around to it, but when I was kind of in the mood to watch it, I got isn't there like 3 different versions of it?
There are 2.
At least 2. There's
There
a
are 2.
director's cut
There's
and a
the
real cut, and I never got a definitive answer on what to watch first.
You have to watch the theatrical. I've
Okay.
watched both.
That's what I've heard.
And when the director had the money to do all the shit he couldn't do in the theatrical, in my opinion, he added nothing to it and actually subtracted.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
You got to get the original
Okay.
theatrical version.
Okay.
So basically, he Lucased it up and
And it wrecked it, right?
It didn't wreck it, but it just was like, why? And some of the
Yeah.
songs changed, and it didn't work. Killing Moon has to start the film. It has to. And he couldn't get the rights to the song he wanted, so he used that one. Well, he put it back in for his version, and it doesn't work, in my opinion. And maybe it's just back to Stewie Griffin. I don't like change, but
Yeah, it's hard to
once people are locked in,
once it's there, it's hard
exactly.
to. You don't want to change it.
And let me tell you, it is a wonderful. It's just bizarre. It's just
Yeah, I do want to see it, but I'm again bad nerd. I have not seen it.
Oh my God!
I know.
I don't know. I'm starting to wonder about you, man.
I have cred. I promise. I promise.
All
I
right,
have cred.
all right. Well, let's see. Let me pick out something here to see if you've got some cred on it. Let's go with Better Off Dead.
Oh yeah. Savage Steve Holland, John Cusack, Curtis Armstrong.
Yes.
One of the greatest.
This is pure snow. You realize the street value of this mountain? Now, here's the horrible thing. This film was on the list of a friend of mine's films to see. Ones that he said, I should see this, or people tell him. And he was over at the house, and I said, so what do you want to watch? He says, here's a list. Looked at his phone and said, just pick one of those. I went, Better Off Dead. What a great film. He didn't care for it.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what that says about him or about me, that it bothers me so much that he didn't like it. But, in every other regard, he's a stand-up guy. So it's like, hey, you know what? Not everything is for everybody.
No.
I get that. But for me, that is...
It's a very weird movie.
It's absurd comedy.
It's absurd comedy.
Why is the Jell-O crawling off the plate? What? Like... Why are you analyzing why?
Yeah,
it's just happening. That's the joke.
What it is, yeah.
There's no subtext.
Why is everyone afraid of the paper boy?
Exactly.
Why are there Asians who want to race you and talk like Howard Cosell?
Exactly. And that's, and for people like your 25-year-old coworker there, wouldn't even get the voice that he was.
What at all?
Why? What kind of a weird voice is that? I mean, I don't even know if it was like, was it repeats or something, like sketches that were done on SNL?
Yeah.
They got broadcast later in reruns. Because I don't think I was even alive when Cosell was.
No, you were for sure.
Was he?
But it wasn't like.
Well, see,
you didn't watch sports.
I don't care about sports now or then.
Me either. But he was one of those iconic weird people.
The Muppets had a Howard Cosell character on Sesame Street. I absolutely
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So
now, see if this makes any sense to you. I always felt, in a weird way, that that Better Off Dead was kind of if intentional, I'd be surprised, but a kind of an unintentional companion to another one of the original cult films, Harold and Maude.
In what fucking way?
Well, because he's trying to kill himself, or he pretends to kill himself through the whole movie. Does that make any sense? Is that too stretching?
That line is very tenuous.
Okay,
because what Harold was trying to achieve is completely. He was not trying to actually kill himself.
Right.
Ever. He was trying to elicit that same,
shock value,
out of his mother that he got the first time when it happened accidentally.
Yeah.
And he saw her reaction when she thought that he had died. It was just a way to play up how different funny ways he could try to kill himself.
One of the greatest scenes in that movie. If you've never seen Harold and Maude, it's a very...
Well, let's move into Harold and Maude.
Yeah.
That to me is probably one of the funniest / most heartbreaking, most
sweetest,
insightful films into human nature. And I will tell you, it was already one of my favorite films of all time. And one of my things that I really like about the films that I obsess over is that I could watch it over and over and glean little bits here and there. And there is a scene where he makes the little press a penny and has Harold Loves Maude at the fair.
Yep.
There's a scene where you see for just a moment she has a Nazi prison tattoo. She was numbered. And all of a sudden the movie opened up like another 900% to me. I was like, oh.
Well, if you've never seen the movie, it's kind of a love story between, how old is Harold? 18 maybe? 17, 18?
I'd say between 17 and 20.
Right.
Somewhere in there.
Played by Bud Cort, and it's basically...
Also known as God.
Yeah.
In Dogma.
Exactly.
And Ruth Gordon.
Who was
80.
Was she 80 at the time?
80. I don't know if she was, if Ruth Gordon was 80, but the character
but Maude was 80.
Maude was 80,
and
it's believable.
This beautiful, love story between these two people who find each other. I haven't watched it in so long. I'm gonna have to revisit it.
That was one of the very first things I bought on Blu-ray when I got my Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain films that are like, fucking, I'm not gonna rebuy it. You don't get my money. Where when it comes to Harold and Maude, it's a $40 Blu-ray because it's a Criterion to boot. All right, I'll do it because
worth it.
Absolutely worth it.
My favorite scene of the whole movie is when he's sitting there, like, I can't remember if it's his mother talking to him or something, and he's sitting there and he's nodding his head, and she's rambling on, and the scene goes on for about 2.5 minutes, and then he just reaches under and pulls a meat cleaver out and chops his arm off.
Right. His fake arm.
His fake arm, yeah.
Yeah. Or when she's filling out the dating profile for him, and he just puts a gun in his mouth, and she goes, Harold, stop being so didactic, or whatever the hell she says. And the ending is, it's kind of the genesis of my opinion that up to 80, that's good. Mm-hmm. Every year past 80, that's a gift. If you die at 80, meh. Now, in the case of Maude, she definitely could have gone quite, many, many, many more years. But I think that's one of the subtexts, that she was in that camp. Yeah, she's controlling her own death. There's so much going on in there. Yeah. And I have, I think it's Colin Rigby. I can't remember the name of the author, but I couldn't find a copy of it. And I was raving about this film to the girl I was dating at the time, and she found a copy of it for me.
The book or the
of Harold and Maude, the actual book.
Okay. I didn't know it was based
it was a book before it was a film, and it just there's so much going on in there that you're not aware of if you watch it at one level. And because I've been watching it so many times, I've been able to dig down and dig down and dig down and find other levels to this film.
And the thing is, it works on all those levels. Like on that just straight level, it's of what it is. That's great. And if you really dig into it, there is a ton.
And of course has probably one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time.
Yeah.
All that Cat Stevens music, which was about, if I remember correctly, about 2/3 of it was previously recorded stuff. But he wrote about 3 or 4 new songs for Harold and Maude, and he has said in recent interviews that's pretty much about the number one thing he's asked about is about Harold and Maude and the songs on Harold and Maude. Oh yeah,
that's great.
Because for a lot of people, that was their introduction to Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
And I'm so pleased that he came back and is doing some of his secular music,
Yeah, despite, your feelings on some people's feelings on his political and religious views and all that.
From what I understand, he does not subscribe to any of the, he converted to Islam, I think in like 79.
Yeah.
Something like
Changed
that.
His name to Yusuf Islam.
Yusuf Islam. And from what I understand, he's not one of those inflammatory. Not at all. He's the true.
You cannot deny the musical brilliance, though.
Oh hell no! And the fact that he's back, he's touring, and he's doing his secular music, that is a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's a gift for everybody.
So if for no other reason, even if the music sucked, which it certainly doesn't, it's a Muslim man being a cool dude, doing cool stuff, and showing people like, oh wow,
because Muslim people are cool.
Really,
they're fine. They're just people.
I just listened to what the Republicans say.
Yeah,
shouldn't we build a wall around everything we don't know and understand completely? No. Well, that's going to lead us into another cult film, which bears multiple viewings. Harvey.
Okay.
Jimmy Stewart, 1950.
One of your absolute, if not your favorite movie.
It's if hard pressed, it's Harvey. I mean, it switches around. I always talk about Magnolia and St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah.
Not that St. Elmo's Fire is anywhere near on the level of brilliance that Harvey is.
That doesn't mean anything, though.
No,
that can be your favorite movie.
Yeah,
still.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, some people. Hey, I personally think Under the Cherry Moon by Prince is a wonderful film. It's atrocious. It's like when you're depressed and like, I'm going to listen to the Smiths, but won't that make you more depressed? Yeah. it's gonna fuck me up.
Yeah.
That's Under the Cherry Moon.
Yeah, my favorite terrible great movie is the Andrew Dice Clay opus, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Terrible movie.
Oh wow. No.
Great movie.
Nope. I got you beat on that. It's oh god, what's that Bruce Willis Danny
Hudson Hawk.
Oh god, Hudson Hawk.
Terrible great
with that
movie.
Richard E. Grant and Sandra Bernhardt over the not just over the top and circles around to go back over the top.
Yeah.
Just stupid.
Terrible.
And I don't own a copy of it, but if it's on TV, I'll watch a couple 20 minutes of it until the commercial shows up. I'm like, oh god, that was just awful.
Yep.
So, but Harvey, oh my god, it was a play first that Jimmy Stewart did on Broadway,
Of course.
and they filmed it in 1950. And it, for those of you who don't know, it's a story of a, I want to say a middle-aged gentleman, perhaps in his early
40s.
to mid-40s. I mean, a young, sprightly young thing who's
That's
in his
not old, man.
That's not old
That's
at all.
not old.
Who has an invisible rabbit as a friend and thinks nothing of introducing him to anybody and everybody. And of course, back then, oh dear, I have the vapors and clutching my pearls. How dare you bring? He's insane. I must get when people.
Elwood P. Dowd, right?
Elwood P. Dowd, exactly. Call me at this number. That's the new number. Don't call me at the old number. And it's the adventures that he has over the course of, I want to say, I think it's almost a day or a day into the night into the next morning, where he finally embarrasses his sister and niece, who he doesn't live with. They live with him. And they try to get him committed. And of course, he is so agreeable to everything. You're like, oh, you want me to take this serum that will shock me into reality? Well, I'd rather not. Please. Okay, I'll do it. He just goes along. And there's a line in there that really gets me. And Elwood P. Dowd was talking about his mother, which coincidentally, after she passed away, that's when he started seeing Harvey. Now, of course, we know through the course of the film, Harvey do exist.
Yeah.
This isn't, this isn't like Birdman where he, imagining he can fly and he can't. He sees the rabbit. The rabbit is there. We know that.
Yeah.
His mother told him, in this life, Elwood, you must be ever so clever or oh so pleasant. For years I was clever. I recommend pleasant. And he basically just goes to bars and drinks with the rabbit, and everyone at the bar is just, he's there.
Sure.
They just, Mr. Crackers, going to Mr. Crackers.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, he agrees to take the serum, and the cab driver that brought them all out there tells the sister what he's going to be like afterwards, because that serum, no more starry, dreamy-eyed stuff, and she stops it. Well, the owner of the sanitarium, Mr. Chumley, has gotten to know Harvey in the meantime through all the shenanigans of the day. And as they're leaving to go back, having not taken the serum, he goes to Elwood and says, would he stay with me? Because we've learned that Harvey has the power to stop time, and you can go anywhere you want. And Mr. Chumley wants Harvey to do this for him. He wants to go to Akron 2 weeks and nothing but cold beer and no whiskey. And Elwood's like, I don't own him. Sure, if he wants to do it. And he does. And Elwood is heartbroken. But here's something that I firmly believe this. Harvey goes with Dr. Chumley, close the door, but by the time Elwood gets to the gate of Harvey comes back.
Right.
And it ends something along the lines of, I prefer your company better too, Harvey, thanks. And they walk off. I firmly believe, because Harvey has the power to stop time, he gave Chumley his 2 weeks in Akron.
And just came back.
And just, because to everyone else, no time had elapsed at all.
Yeah, that's how it would work.
There's so much going on about human... That's even in the weird films, the stuff that talks about human nature, like, a 17-year-old boy and an 80-year-old woman. What kind of a weird... But it illuminates parts of humanity that I fucking... That just... gets it in a way that's at such an odd angle. You're like, oh, I see what you did there. Smart. But yeah, Harvey just I haven't given too much away if you haven't seen it, but
Right.
but
It's been a really long time. I need to revisit that.
you definitely need to revisit that.
And every once in a while, they'll do it on. They'll do the play will pop up and people will do it. I mean, I haven't seen it in Atlanta anytime, but I think
I went and saw the play. This was when I was 22 years old and somehow found myself dating someone a bit younger and had to be very persuasive. I'm just taking her to a play. And we went and saw it in like Coronado. This is back in San Diego. And it was done okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no Bugsy Malone.
Right.
But I want to jump to a pair of films that kind of go together in that they are both Australian and they're both fucking phenomenal. Okay. Think of Australian cinema. What pops to mind outside of Road Warrior?
Outside of Road Warrior, one that I know is on the list.
And don't say Crocodile Dundee because I will fucking.
Yeah, that's not Australian. The one I know I think you're going to talk about is Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Priscilla, Queen of the motherfucking desert.
Right.
It is gay, and it is fucking awesome.
It is really awesome.
And it is hilarious. It is funny, and it did okay upon release. But the cult following is amazing
to the point of a Broadway musical based on
exactly.
That did
I mean,
huge.
Right, and that tells. I mean that's what we're talking about as far as I guess a cult following is misplaced. A misplaced audience that goes contrary to what the people marketing the film would have liked.
Yeah.
We would have liked this audience when the film came out. Well, we've ran the entire marketing campaign and it flopped or did meh. But now all of a sudden people caught up to it a year or two later or whenever.
Yep.
And now it's freaking huge as hell. And I got nothing much else to say about that. I think the costuming actually won an Academy Award. The film did.
Right.
Because the costumes were just sick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a group of 3 female impersonators that travel the Australian outback. And we've mentioned this before, Australia is the home of things that will kill you.
Yes.
Including minors and especially if you're Guy Pearce dressed in drag.
Right.
And
not to mention, the funniest thing about it to me is
Terrence Stamp?
General Zod in drag.
Oh, bow before Zod.
Fabulous.
Bernice. Well, it's obviously that Terrence is not a dancer.
Right.
And quite frankly, watching that, I don't really get the appeal of the lip syncing. I mean, I guess I kind of can. I mean, the costumes are cool. I mean,
yeah.
I went to I did a production of Homo on the Range with the gay theater troupe back in like 19 blah, blah, blah. And we went to I don't know if it was a drag bar or they were having a drag night.
Yeah.
But it was just people dressing fabulous and lip syncing.
Yeah, that's what most drag shows are, or a lot are. That's
and
like a subset.
I don't really see the appeal of that.
It's, people. It's just part of the show thing.
I mean, if it's to get into an awesome costume and rock the stage, then I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, because some of the costumes are like, wow.
Yeah.
Or some of the guys dress like, wow, she's really, oh, shit, that's a guy.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
Well done, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to find that with Terrence Stamp. That was definitely...
No.
Now, Guy Pearce in a couple of scenes, you're like,
not too bad.
He's he's not too shabby.
Yep.
That's just a wonderful film. And I think it did a lot towards opening people's eyes to all, because this film came out 90
early 90s, yeah.
No, mid 90s, 1995.
Okay, still
1995, and I consider this film one of those stepping stones to people realizing, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong or stupid about gay lifestyles like that. It's many faceted, just like straight lifestyles. Their lifestyle's probably more fabulous than ours, but
right.
That's a lot more sequins and awesomeness. But that's
along the same lines. We just watched both the film and we saw the musical of Kinky Boots. I don't know if you've seen Kinky Boots.
Have they done a film at Kinky Boots?
It was a film first.
Was it now?
Yes, it was with Chiwetel Ejiofor as
judges say
Lola.
Oh, you got that right.
Yeah. Thank you. Been a fan. He was the bad guy in Serenity, so that's why I know his name.
Oh, that's right.
He was the agent in Serenity.
That's right.
But yeah, Kinky Boots is along the same lines. As
Yeah, and
drag.
that's the one that Cyndi Lauper and Harvey Firestein
did, and we saw the.
I'm sorry,
Harvey Firestein did the book for it, and it was fabulous. Yeah, it was the musical was amazing. It was so well done. We saw it at the Fox, and the music is killer.
There's a movie, huh?
Yeah, it
Why
was.
haven't I seen that?
It's on Netflix. It is a movie. It was a movie first.
Okay, well then I need to see that because
you
I'm a.
You would dig it. It's a really well done film too.
No, well I'm a fan of that.
Okay, and what was the other pair?
The other one, Muriel's Wedding.
Okay,
have you seen it?
I don't believe I have. I know what it is. What's her name? Or am I thinking of?
It's the mom of I See Dead People.
Yeah, it's oh, I can't think of her name. Give it to me.
I forgot already.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's
Minnie Driver.
No, good God.
Okay,
no.
the one I'm thinking. Toni Collette.
Toni Collette. There
Toni
you go.
Collette.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to say Rachel Griffith, but she's in the film as another character. That
Right.
And that's the first time most everybody in the world outside of Australia saw her because that was her first big thing. Mm-hmm. And that's another one where you've got some kind of absurd things going on, but there's some real human drama and some just what happens to Muriel's mother? I can't watch that film with other people because it's heartbreaking. Yeah, it's brutal what happens. But it's all ABBA, and
that's right.
And I think the first time I was in New York for any period of time, they were advertising Mamma Mia was coming, but I can't remember what year that was. I think this predates Mamma Mia as the musical. I'm pretty sure. Because it would have been later '90s for Mamma Mia. But anyway, it's ABBA soundtrack. It's Toni Collette.
Did Priscilla have a lot of ABBA in it as well?
May have had one or two songs, but it was more a mix of different
like
stuff.
that era.
Gloria Gaynor. Oh, right. Basically all the drag
the
standards.
Gay icon.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Muriel's Wedding is wonderful. Rachel Griffiths, who went on to be successful
6 Feet Under.
In 6 Feet Under, which just had its 15-year anniversary. The finale just did one of the greatest finales in all of television ever. Mm-hmm. And that it beats my money. It beats out Breaking Bad, which says something because that's a hell of a. And we should do an episode. We should do an episode just on awesome or horrible TV series finales. That could be a thing.
I've got a film.
Yeah, what's that?
That's not on the list that I just thought of. Is
Curveball.
Yep. One of my favorite films, which, in a way, both the novel and the film are precursors to Forrest Gump. 1970, I want to say. Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, is it safe? No, not the Marathon.
No, not Marathon.
Really?
No.
That leads right into Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Little Big Man.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Little Big Man?
Never seen Little Big Man.
It is one of my favorite films. It is the story of the film starts with, if you can believe it, a young William Hickey. If you've ever seen,
was he ever young?
He evidently was.
Wow.
Yeah, a young-ish William Hickey, interviewing Jack Crabb, the old Indian fighter, who's 114 or 15 years old, I forget, and I think it was Rick Baker won an Oscar for the makeup on Dustin Hoffman because it's the most amazing old age makeup you've ever seen.
Rick.
I think it was Rick Baker. If not, it was the guy who did the Godfather, because I saw some of his work. I can't remember who it was.
The guy that shoved the orange into Marlon Brando. Anyway.
And it's the story of his life as growing up in the Old West. Like, his parents were like massacred by Indians, and he was taken in by what they called the Cherokee, not the Cherokee. This is bad. I can't. They called themselves the Human Beings. And this is one Indian tribe.
Sounds pretty fucking hippie to me, man.
Yeah. And it's just his life. You know, he was taken in and he grew up with them, and then he goes off to like he gets saved by this religious lunatic who like beats him and teaches him the Bible, and he grows up like a proper young man, and then he goes back and forth between. I'll lend you it. It's an amazing film.
Hey, I'm for any film that has a religious asshole beating people into submission with their
He
Bible.
gets his. So,
I'm sure he does.
But it's Dustin Hoffman. It's Faye Dunaway. It's not Martin Mull. What's his name? Just
Martin Landau.
No, it's not Martin Landau. What's his? Oh, never
Martin
mind.
Freeman. He's in everything.
No, it's Martin Balsam. That's who it is. Martin
Yeah.
Balsam.
Oh, okay.
And
Martin Balsam. He played the husband to Wendy Beamish in, wait for it, St. Elmo's Fire. We're going to play 6 Degrees of St. Elmo's Fire, motherfucker.
Oh,
It's going to be wonderful.
So, yeah, Little Big Man. It's definitely...
Okay. All right,
we'll swap out Donnie Darko. And
now, I just want to mention it because everyone knows this film and it doesn't bear talking about, but I just feel the need to mention that there are films that do modestly, they do okay, even very well, but then get so fucking huge. And this is just a single film. I mean, Star Wars was able to build and build and build, and this is just a one-off film that did very very well after its release. Better than it's a cult phenomenon. Your girlfriend is a member of this cult.
Oh, The Wizard of Oz?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a musical film, but man, don't tell that to...
Oh, yeah.
They're syncing it up to Dark Side. They're doing everything. They're like, which Flaming Lips record works the best with Dark,
You'll see that on the internet all the time, like the shocking secrets or the things you don't know about The Wizard of Oz, like the lukewarm reviews it got, that it was unimaginative, and the fact that the studio was like, that we got to get that song out of there. It's terrible.
Right. They wanted to get rid of Over the
Let's
Rainbow.
get rid of that.
It slows down the
slows
action.
down the whole pace of the movie.
And turns out to be like the one thing people remember from that film.
Right.
More than
most iconic song in film history,
right.
pretty much.
It's Over the Rainbow and Your Little Dog Too. And those are the two things
Exactly.
everyone remembers. Hey, we didn't run out of time, but we got to get Dan caught up on some movies and a few for me, too. So we're going to give you part 2 next week.
The 9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Michael Reed and Dan Bauman, with Abdul Beni Hassan as the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Lohner. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, QLab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Piranha Brothers, and LexCorp. Legal counsel by the offices of Howard and Fine. Kalima, Shook Dundee! Our intro music was written by Tim Akers. This podcast is sponsored by Deep Shag Records and is a production of Audio Primate. Throw us a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? Check us out on dadsgarageradio.net. Listen, watch on YouTube. Listen on SoundCloud, stream us on Stitcher, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or email us, comlink@billionpod.com. Until this happens again, I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm Michael Reed.
LOZ!
Audio Primate.